Welcome to the 34th 4-H Tropicana Public Speaking County-wide competition. My name is Karen Henry, and I am your University of Florida IFAS Extension Seminole County 4-H Youth Development Agent. 4-H collaborates with local schools, community organizations, and volunteers to deliver research-based educational programming to Seminole County youth. Extension programming is made possible through county, state, and federal funding from Seminole County government, the University of Florida, and the United States Department of Agriculture. The 4-H Tropicana Public Speaking Program is just one of our Seminole County 4-H school enrichment programs, where we annually have between 3,500 and 4,000 sixth grade students participate thanks to classroom teachers dedicating their time and energy into sharing the skills and fun of public speaking. The Tropicana PepsiCo company donates over $3,000 annually to support materials and awards for this program. In addition to this program, we offer other school enrichment programs, including the Living on My Own game of financial management. At Seminole County Extension, we serve adult audiences with educational programming in the areas of horticulture, health and nutrition, finances, and housing assistance programs. Tonight, I invite you to sit back and enjoy the 15 first place sixth grade finalists as they present their speeches. They will be introducing themselves one by one and sharing a few words of thanks for their supporters here tonight before we begin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jaylee Rubel. I am from Jackson Heights Middle School. I hope you all have had a good night so far, and yeah, enjoy the show.
Hi, my name's Landon Wheeler. I'm from Sanford Middle School, and thanks for coming.
Hello, my name is Allison Helms. I hope everybody has been having a great night. I'd like to thank Ms. Casey, Ms. Geis, and Ms. Hoyer for coming to watch us. I hope everybody enjoys. Oh, I also come from Holy Cross.
Hello, I'm Katie Lynn Daniel. I go to Double R Private School, and I'd like to give a big shout out to my school's founder, Ms. Reichley, and my wonderful language arts teacher, Dr. Van Gilder.
Hi, I'm Natalie McCoy. I'm from the Masters Academy, and I would like to give a special thanks to everyone for coming out to support our speeches, and I would also like to give a special thanks to Miss Beauchesne, my language arts teacher, for supporting me.
Hello, my name is Ava Cormia, and I am representing Millennium Middle School, and I'd like to give a huge thank you for Miss Turner, and I'd like to give a huge thank you for my family to come and watch me, and I hope everyone has a wonderful night tonight.
Hi, I'm Samira Rahman, and I'm coming from Tuscaloosa Middle School, and I'd like to thank my family for coming and watching me.
Hi, my name is Natalie Zuzunaga. I'm from South Seminole Middle School, and I would like to give thanks to my principal, Dr. Coleman Baker, and my language arts teacher, Miss McAvoy, and our assistant principal. I'm sorry. Miss Harshafi for coming out to support me, and as well as my family and friends. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariana McKay. I am from Greenwood Lakes Middle School, and I would like to thank my family and my language arts teacher, Ms. Prades, for coming out and supporting me.
Hi, my name is Maciel Mileo, and I'm from Teague Middle School. I would like to thank my parents for coming, and also my language arts teacher, Ms. Hare.
Hi, I'm Abigail Longstaff from Orange Road Christian School, and I'd like to thank my family for coming, my principal, Miss Miller, and my language teacher, Miss Hickok. Hi, my name is Arisha Arvat, and I'm representing Markham Woods Middle School. And I would like to thank my family for coming here and my language arts teacher, Dr. Lewis. And yeah, have a good night.
My name is Juliana, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming, especially my language arts teacher, Mrs. Bell. And yeah, I'm representing Lawton Childs Middle School.
Hi, my name is Isabella Carter, and I come from Altamont Christian School, and I'd like to thank my family for coming out and watching me.
Hi, my name is Isaiah. I come from Indian Trails Middle School. I'd like to thank my family and my teacher, Miss Young, and my principal, Dr. Johnson.
Before we get started, I would like to introduce our judges and give them our thank yous. Our first judge serving this evening is Vice Chair Jay Zimbauer, who serves as a Seminole County Commissioner. Being a public servant, Vice Chair Zimbauer has many opportunities to connect with audiences and for public speaking. He has been actively involved in several organizations as a board member, supporting both the community and youth. He has also served as a radio talk show host and has worked as a technical consultant for WFTV and WESH television affiliates. Our next judge this evening is Beverly James. She is the Director of Public Relations at the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences. Beverly is a former newspaper reporter who has spent the past 20 years in higher education communication with stints at Emory University School of Law, Georgia State University, and the University of Maryland. Currently, she is based in Apopka and covers communication responsibilities for a research center and 4 counties, including their extension and 4-H youth development programming and events. Our last judge is Derwin Sanchez. Derwin is a former Seminole County 4-H'er who was actively involved for the past 8 years. During his time in 4-H, Derwin held several officer positions at the club, county, and state levels. He competed in speech and debate for 3 years in high school, where he developed a passion for public speaking. He placed first in the Lincoln Douglas debate at the 2017 regional qualifier and qualified to nationals in debate, biographical narrative, and impromptu speaking. Derwin just completed his first semester at the University of Central Florida, where he is double majoring in philosophy and writing and rhetoric. He is also a member of the UCF Ethics Board. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Jaylee DeMarco Rubel from Jackson Heights Middle School.
So, recently things have been a little hectic for me. Oh, who am I kidding? Basketball practices and games, health issues, and some other things that have been a little stressful. The one thing that has kept me going, though, is surprisingly my own sketchbook. I love art, but art isn't just about drawing and coloring and whatnot. It can be a stress reliever and can help express emotion. Best of all, it is a great time killer. Drawing can be very beneficial in those 3 ways. Sometimes we may feel as if we can't or won't say how we feel or our thoughts. Try drawing how you feel. Maybe, if you're happy, you'll draw a person outside playing in a flower of meadows? I don't know, whatever floats your boat. If you're mad, maybe you'll draw fire or something negative. This can help you express your emotions if you're not able to. If you all were drawing right now, I would hope to see some positive sketches on your paper. Now, I'm sure there had to be one time this week where you were a little stressed. If not, then lucky, I wish I had your life. Anyways, drawing can help relieve any stress you are feeling. How? Well, you're focused on your drawing and trying to make it look nice. I know that when I feel stressed, I hop on my soft bed. Wait a minute, this isn't about beds, this is about drawing. I'm getting ahead of myself. And I pull out my sketchbook and I get comfy. I start drawing some characters from maybe my favorite video games and movies, and then when it feels like 15 minutes, it turns out to be an hour and I completely forgot what I was so stressed about. Speaking of time, did I mention that drawing can help get rid of boredom? Wait, I probably did, like 15 times. Yes, drawing is a great time killer. Things can be very boring. School. Well, here's the solution to your problem. When you draw, you get swept away by the concept of art. Thoughts of how you can improve to what you want to draw can appear while you're drawing. You may zone out like I do when I draw. Before you realize, it's probably been like 2 hours. I told you drawing can help, so now you know how drawing isn't just about doodling. It has a meaning. Now, let's get home and draw more.
So for those of you who may not necessarily be familiar with 4-H, in addition to doing programs like here in the schools with the 4-H Tropicana Public Speaking Program, there are also opportunities to get involved in 4-H community clubs. They meet throughout the county in a variety of different areas. We've got gardening, teen leadership, sewing, horse, livestock, and even stuff for the younger kids, those who are ages 5 to 7, who we refer to as clover buds. Most clubs meet once or twice a month, and they have both a social aspect as well as an educational aspect. Youth get an opportunity to learn about projects that interest them and hold leadership positions in the club. They also have an opportunity to participate in county, district, state, regional, and national events. I would now like to introduce our second speaker, Landon Wheeler from Sanford Middle School, how to give a speech.
If you've ever spoken in public before, you know how hard it is and how nervous you can get. Well, this speech can help you if you ever want to speak in public again. This is how to do a speech. First, I want to start, well, from the start. When you get up on stage, please have a plan, but if you don't have a plan, try to refrain, try to refrain from saying or I guess I broke that rule. I want to talk to you about 3 very important topics: voice control, eye contact, and pace. Firstly, you don't want to talk too softly. You know what I mean? They can't hear what you're saying. This can make it harder to get your point across. You also don't want to talk in a monotone voice. If you don't know what that is, it's talking like a robot, because then your audience may get bored. Secondly, you want to keep your eye contact as shared as possible. You don't want to stare at one person awkwardly the whole time, but you don't want to bolt your eyes around the room. Thirdly, let's talk about pace. You know, like talking too fast or too slow. You want to talk at a normal pace, like you are when you're talking to your friends. You don't want to talk too fast because then your audience can't understand what you're saying, and this can also cause you to mumble. But you don't want to talk too slow because then your audience may get bored. Word of caution, it's okay to be a little nervous while you're doing your speech. This can cause you to talk faster than you really wanted to. My advice is to be very deliberate and enunciate each and every word you say. When some people get up on stage, they ask, what happens if I'm not a good speaker? My advice is to keep your chin up, voice at an audible level, and if you mess up, keep going. No one else in the audience has your speech. The only way they'll know you messed up is if you let them. If you follow these tips, your audience will have as much fun as you did. Now, where did my glasses go? Where?
The top prize, in addition to having bragging rights here in Seminole County for our first place winner, is a week-long scholarship to attend 4-H summer camp. We camp at 4-H Camp Cloverleaf in Lake Placid, and this summer we are camping July 15th through 19th, so it'll be nice and warm. And even if you are not the first place winner this evening, because we have stellar speeches that are going to be happening all night long, we welcome all youth to participate in our 4-H summer camp, and there is information out in the lobby for those who are interested. So we would love to have you. Our next speech is Allison Helms, I, Chihuahua, from Holy Cross Lutheran Academy.
Chihuahuas are so tiny, so yappy, and so cute. This is what makes them the best and worst pets you could ever have. They're tiny, so don't step on them. Moody, so don't make them mad, or you'll end up with a painful bite. Get ready for the cutest dog ever. The Chihuahua, or the Chi, is one of the oldest breeds of American dogs, with a lineage going back to ancient kingdoms of pre-Columbian times. They are a national symbol of Mexico and became famous from the Yo Quiero Taco Bell commercial. They live for 14 to 16 years, are in the toy group of dogs, and are very active and love to play. They're tiny but mighty and give a fierce bite. Chihuahua puppies are born with a molara, or a soft spot on the head where the bones have not yet fused together, similar to human babies. There are two types of Chihuahuas, the deer-head Chihuahua and the apple-head Chihuahua. My dogs are apple-head Chihuahuas. Deer-heads have less breathing problems, a deer-shaped head, a long, angular face, a narrow skull, a long, narrow, pointed muzzle, an extended jawline, and the muzzle from the slowport joins the skull. They have a longer neck than the applehead, are larger than the applehead, and are less likely to have a molara. Appleheads have round, apple-shaped skulls, short muzzles, a 90-degree angle between the muzzle and the skull, a prominent or sticking out jawline, and they can often have round, bulging eyes, like my dog Chloe, and they can have a molara. Some fun facts about the Chihuahua that you probably didn't know are that it got its name from the state of Chihuahua, Mexico, where the dog was first found. The average litter size for the Chihuahua is 1 to 3 pups, but it very rarely gets 6, and they surprisingly get along with cats very well. Chihuahuas have quite a few common phobias, such as being home alone, traffic, and other dogs. But my dogs don't fear others, others fear them. In conclusion, Chihuahuas are very unique dogs. They're the worst pets because they're pretty yappy and annoying, and they bark a lot. But the best because they're tiny, but have a big heart, like my dogs, Pappy and Chloe.
4-H stands for Head, Heart, Health, and Hands, which means we hope to offer experiences that address the entire child. The head in the thinking, the heart and the social aspect and the getting along with others, the hands with service and learning, and the health, meaning we address the entire child. And we want them to have healthy relationships with each other as well as the world around us. Our next speaker is Katie Lynn Daniel from the Double R Private School. Sailing is her speech.
Tighten the jib! This is one of the many terms you'll hear. If you're out sailing with the wind in your face, the splash of cold water on your skin, and the sound of all those around you yelling starboard. For those of you that are not familiar with sailing, the jib is a sail that is located in the front of the boat. Most boats have two sails, the jib and the mainsail. Some boats only have one sail, though. My parents took lessons and learned to sail a sunfish, which is a boat with only one sail. I sail a boat called a 420. It has two sails, and in high winds can go really fast. Now, back to the term tighten the jib. This simply means to pull on the rope or line attached to the back of the jib at the bottom. When you pull on the jib line, it puts tension on the sail and allows it to catch more wind, thus making the boat go faster. Another term you might hear while out sailing is starboard. When sailing in a race, the boat to your right is always starboard. Now, if you're the boat to starboard, it means you have rights. Now, you might be thinking, what on earth is she talking about? It's a free country. We all have rights. Well, in sailing, only the boat to starboard has rights. There's a couple of exceptions to that, but I won't get into them today. Now, let's say you're in a sailing race, and somebody hits you when you have rights. You can either do one of two things. You can either forget that they ever hit you, which is something mostly done in beginning regattas, or you can yell protest as loud as you possibly can. By yelling protest, you have basically just told them to do their turns. When you do your turns, it simply means to turn your boat all the way around. Now that you know a couple of sailing terms, here's how I got into sailing. My aunt got my mom and dad sailing lessons for Christmas. Soon my sister and I decided that we would try sailing too. Now we go to different regattas and compete. A regatta is a sailing race. The club I go to is called HYS, or Halifax Youth Sailing. The adults program there is called HSA, or Halifax Sailing Association. In my HYS group, there's only about 11 of us. We all know each other and really get along well, and sometimes we'll give tips to try to help each other. One of the first partners I had in sailing was a girl named Sienna. Now she's one of my best friends on the sailing team. One of the first things that she taught me was how to capsize the boat and how to flip it back over after it capsizes. This has really helped me so far, if you catch my drift. If you try sailing, you'll see it's a really fun sport, especially for people like my family and I who love the water. It's okay to get out of your comfort zone and try something new. If it's sailing, that's great. If it's not, that's okay too. Put yourself out there. I dare you.
Our next contestant is Natalie McCoy from the Masters Academy, World of Words.
Coral wandered aimlessly, coughing up the dry and dusty red air, as she sought a place to find shelter, a place where she'd be safe from the threat she knew would return, the threat that took everything from her, the threat that only left her with the sanctuary she can't seem to find, the sanctuary where the rest of her kind found home among a lavish forest filled with shimmering mists that taste like candy as it touches your lips, where hope and magic still remain, a place that feels so distant from the seemingly doomed and desolate wonderland. That excerpt is from a book I am writing. As impossible as my story may sound to you, anything is possible through writing. One thing that ignites my passion for writing is that the possibilities are endless. I can rewrite history, pen the future, or add magic to the ordinary and dull. With writing, even an alternate dimension ruled by talking apes or mermaid warriors is possible. Too much? I, and my imagination, say not. Sure, you could read someone else's story, maybe even pick the plot book. But I say, write your own adventure. Writing lets you decide and gives you complete literary freedom to rule over your world of words, where you don't have to follow any rules, except for the rules of grammar. We often overlook how powerful writing can be. It brings us emotions, solutions, and impacts our lives in so many ways. The best stories include relatable subjects like family, challenges, or moral dilemmas we have all faced. Who knows when the next generation of Harry Potter or Chronicles of Narnia books will come out? Maybe I'll write them, or maybe you will. But when I write, I'll set my imagination free to create a world of wonder that inspires others to write their own stories too. With her body beaten from the dusty winds and her spirit stolen from the unforgiving red planet, Coral was ready to give up. Until she saw it. With every ounce of her almost lifeless being, Coral stumbled through the portal. As she laid motionless, her eyes filled with wonder as she traveled by tunnel through a never-ending sea of stars. Each celestial giant she passed restored her with showers of light until she came to a jarring stop. As her eyes opened, everything was dark, except for the faint outline of a doorway. Coral reached toward the door. What is Coral's fate? I haven't decided yet. But you know what's really cool? Through writing in my world of words, I get to.
Our next presenter is Ava Cormia, Pros and Cons of Being the Youngest Child, from Millennium Middle School.
Everyone loves surprises. Surprise birthday parties, a good twist ending to a suspenseful movie. It was all a dream. When you've had a long week and you remember it's Friday, now I guess you can say I was the ultimate surprise. I was the biggest jump scare in the movie. The jolt when you suddenly stop at the red light. The top dog of unexpectedness. The bonus child. That's right, or at least that's what my parents always called me. With this special title comes with a great area of expertise on my end. And that is what I'm here to talk with you about today. Now, being the youngest in the family, this means that I have two older sisters. Cindy, the age of 20, and Kate, who's 18, and a mom and dad to go with. To explain in short term, for the first child, the parents will give all their love and gratitude as well as the utmost consequences for the slightest mistakes, which they rarely make. Now, along the road, stubbornly comes the middle child. Furthermore, the parents try using the same tactics, but are quickly broken down by her rebellious and evil tendencies. Then I'm assumed to become along the perfect in-between. Now, you might think it's a bad thing, but it has some pretty good advantages. One advantage is that you get spoiled to death. If you really want something, all you have to do is give them the puppy dog eyes, and it's yours. This role as the youngest child has trained me to do quite well in the area of sales. One time I sent my mother a long video message of me fake crying for 4 minutes straight because I wanted a dollhouse that I'd been waiting for almost a day. Now, some would say it was an Oscar-winning performance. Now, there are many hardships in being the youngest child, too. Sometimes you're just too young to do adult stuff, which feels chaotic because you're too old to do kid stuff. So since I'm the rear of the family, I am the butt of everyone's jokes. But I'm just going to have to let it go because those corny dad jokes are going to have to stay with me forever. In conclusion, with all the stuff I deal with, such as being spoiled and having to be too young, I've learned a lot from it. But the best thing is that it's great to be a little sister. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Samia Remen from Tuscaloosa Middle School. Names.
My name. I was named by my sister, apparently. She was 4 at the time, so I don't know what anybody was thinking. Names are weird in general. It's like asking, what series of sounds should I make to get your attention? But mine is on a different level. The name Samia is different for many reasons. My name is not typical. There are probably less than 10 Samias in the city of Oviedo. This shows my name is not average, like Nora, Sarah, or Hannah, the names that I love. You've probably not met another Samia yet. But hey, the more you know, the further you'll go. You're listening to one right now. Hi, I'm Samia. Nice to meet you. An issue that comes with an untypical name is untypical pronunciations. Well, to me at least. It's not Samaya, Samira, Samia. It's simply Samia. And no, I don't have a nickname. It's crazy to think about how many names are like mine, but aren't. Yes, my name is considered foreign. But if you looked at a paper, would you think my dad is Canadian, mom from Pennsylvania, and me, born and raised in Orlando? I'm guessing not. If so, kudos to you. I'm third generation American. Fine. If you ask me where I'm from, my grandparents are Pakistani, which leads me to my next point. I'm partly Pakistani. I have an odd way of spelling my name with English letters, but it all makes sense way back wherever in Asia that is. My name, in a nutshell, means good listener in Arabic. Trust me, I've been listening to a lot of names for me my entire 11 years on this planet. To sum it up, my name, Samia, is different for the reasons of it is not typical and it is foreign. Names are weirder than they seem for everyone. As Shakespeare would say, what's in a name that which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet? Oh yeah, my name is not Rose either.
I would now like to introduce Natalie Zuzunga. I'm sorry, Natalie. With Pollution in the Ocean from South Seminole Middle School.
Bottles, cans, aluminum. All of these things are currently swimming in the ocean, and you are just at home doing nothing about it. We are ultimately responsible for how we affect the Earth's environment if we don't recycle and take care of our environment. We will discover how much trash there really is, how it affects the food chain and possibly animal species, and what we can do about the situation. Trash is soon going to take over our world because of how much there is. On July 19, 2017, USA Today published an article which mentioned that we as humans have produced over 18.2 trillion pounds of plastic since the 1950s. That's equal in size to 1 billion elephants. According to 4Ocean, yearly 1.4 billion pounds of plastic ends up in our beautiful oceans. That is extremely worrisome. An island that has a huge amount of trash is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It is located between Hawaii and California and has over 38 million pieces of plastic floating in its waters. We are hurting all sea creatures when we pollute. Hundreds of thousands of sea turtles, whales, starfish, dolphins, and other marine animals die each year from ingestion and toxic chemicals in the ocean. Those are just some examples of how we are endangering both the environment and animal species as well. It may not have crossed your mind, but we are also disturbing the food chain too. Think about it. When we put trash in the ocean, the fish eat the trash, thinking that it's food. Then fishermen take the fish, sell it to suppliers, we buy this, and cook it for our family. The fish pass up the plastic right back to the people who started the issue in the first place. We can help with all the damage that's been done. First, we can use the 3 R's, which are reduce, reuse, and recycle. You should cut down on what you throw away. Second, you can volunteer for cleanups in your community. If you don't happen to have a volunteer center where you live, you can go once a week to the beach and pick up as much trash as you can. Third, consider choosing non-toxic chemicals in your house or workplace. And last but definitely not least, you should shop wisely. Use less plastic bags and always have a reusable shopping bag. In conclusion, we are living in an extremely dirty world. Would you like to live in a gross world with toxic and pollution that continue to get worse every single day? If you don't, then let's start doing our part to help our world. If not, soon we will be standing on, living on, and walking through trash as opposed to gorgeous sandy beaches or lush gardens and thick, well-manicured grass.
Our next speech is Ariana McKay, Climate Change, Greenwood Lakes Middle School.
Did you know that Earth's average temperature has raised a whole 2 degrees Celsius since the Industrial Revolution? Our climate is changing fast, and it's not a good thing. Global warming is negatively affecting the environment and our societies worldwide. Climate change is happening, and we are causing it. Global warming, also known as climate change, is the gradual warming of Earth caused by human expansion of the greenhouse effect. Basically, some of the sun's light hits Earth and is reflected back into space, while the rest is absorbed by things like the dark blue sea. Some gases like CO2 and methane trap heat in lower atmospheres as they pile up, which causes a number of bad effects on Earth. www.epa.gov states, greenhouse gases warm Earth by absorbing energy and slowing the rate at which it escapes to space. Basically, this explains that the greenhouse effect warms our planet by trapping heat through greenhouse gases. This website also states that different greenhouse gases have different effects on Earth's warming. For example, carbon dioxide traps more heat than methane, and more of it is produced. It also proves that some greenhouse gases are more powerful than others and in turn harm the environment more. Now you know that global warming is happening, but how do we know it's our fault? Earth's orbit has been steady, so that can't explain it. The sun has been cooling in the last few decades, yet Earth's temperature still continues to rise, and humans produce about 100 times more CO2 than volcanic eruptions. We're just the only cause that makes sense, and there's evidence to prove it. www.ucsusa.org states, there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that proves global warming is happening. There have been thousands of studies that prove climate change is real, yet a high percentage of Americans still deny we're causing it. Another quote from this website is, no matter how much contrarians try to cloak reality, the evidence isn't going away. This proves that even though some people want to reject we're causing climate change, there is so much evidence and science to prove them wrong. The website www.climate.nasa.gov states, almost all climate scientists agree that the current cause of global warming trend is human expansion of the greenhouse effect. Climate scientists are the people who know most about global warming, and more than 95% of them agree humans are the main cause. It's a fact. Global warming is happening and we are causing it. The amount of proof is mind-boggling. The only reason that people don't believe in climate change is because they aren't armed with the facts. People don't realize it, but global warming is by far the biggest issue facing our species, and we don't seem to be doing anything about it.
Our next speaker is Maciel from Teague Middle School, speaking to us about Venezuela.
Imagine every day having to see dogs in the street, dying of hunger. Imagine a family member has a disease and you cannot get medicine, not even for a fever. Sadly, me and thousands of people live or used to live in that kind of world. Or, better said, a country that's called Venezuela. Venezuela, 1999, an amazing, rich country. Although we weren't the greatest country in the world, we had a beautiful life. But we wanted more. A great man, a veteran, Hugo Chavez, he wanted to make us a richer country, a country everybody knew. He got our hopes up and soon became our president. That's the beginning of this tragic story. One day, Hugo Chavez died. This was a dream come true for many Venezuelans. But even though it seemed the situation would be better, it became worse. We had a new president, Nicolás Maduro, and a great life in Venezuela became history. Memories come shooting to my brain like bullets. Although at that time I didn't know what I was missing, now, 2 years later, I can't believe I used to live without many things. Example, internet. I remember every morning checking to see if there was internet. The majority of times, there wasn't. But sometimes, for a miracle, there was internet. One of those times, I looked Venezuela in Google to find out it was the poorest country in all South America. It's not only the internet. Everything is expensive, even food. And the effect of that is adults, grandparents, and even babies dying of hunger. Imagine you were a Venezuelan and you couldn't even afford food. How can you afford a flight to get out of there? Well, you can't stay there, so your only choice is to walk. Yes, walk. People walk from Venezuela to Argentina. That's how desperate Venezuelans are to get out of there. As you heard, Venezuela is not in a really good condition. But I'll tell you something. No matter what happens, no matter where I am, no matter how many miles I have to run to get back there, I will always love my country. It was my home once. It will always be my home in my heart.
Our next competitor is Abigail Longstaff, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made from Orangewood Christian School.
If you could, what would you like to change about yourself? Why do we care so much about what other people think when God looks at the heart? God made us exactly the way He intended us to be. Sometimes we focus on trying to be cool, to fit in with the crowd, instead of being true to who we are. Let's look at it a different way. Even though people may judge others by their appearance, the Lord does not look at these things. The Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on him for his appearance or the height of his stature, for I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." When we look at things the way God does, we may find it easier to accept and be content with the way we are. After a while, this may help us look at others from God's perspective. One of the reasons that we think it is important to fit in is that when we fit in, we feel more valuable. This sense of value can be expressed as significance, self-esteem, purpose, and relevance. Now, sometimes it is difficult for us to understand our circumstances and our feelings about why God made us the way we are. When God made us, He had a plan for our lives. If we accept that He made us for a purpose and according to a plan, it can help us understand why we are the way we are. We don't always know why God works in our lives the way He does, but even the setbacks and tragedies are part of His plan for us to use these to affect others in a positive way. Even though we do not understand, we have to trust Him. This means we do not have to look for others for acceptance, but be content. Meanwhile, the outside world is constantly promoting a way of life and sending messages to make us question our choices. It is easier to take the path of the crowd rather than being yourself. Being true to yourself sometimes takes courage and strength. Ralph Waldo Emerson once stated, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." We should remember that being different is okay. We can draw courage from the knowledge that God has planned our lives and made us uniquely equipped to fulfill that plan. So if we look at the question again, what would you like to change about yourself? With a better understanding, we can be content with who we are. If our actions show peace and acceptance of ourselves, then others may also see us in the same way that God looks at the heart. Remember, it's okay to be who you are. You're fearfully and wonderfully made to fulfill God's purpose.
Thank you, Abigail. In addition to offering 4-H programs in our office, we also have a sustainable agriculture program. They work with the local community, agriculture community and businesses to help connect them with more people and businesses in our county to help them buy locally grown foods. Our next presenter is Irina Arvat from Markham Woods Middle School, Russian language.
Russian is widely believed to be one of the most difficult languages to learn. I would know because I lived there. If you follow these steps, learning the language will become much easier. It is not like English. It is much harder. Even as a native speaker, I sometimes struggle with it. and most adults do too. For example, if one were to say, she is smart, he is smart, and it is smart, the sentence would look and sound much different because the word smart would have a different pronunciation since the phrase uses different pronouns. From my experience, I also learned that schools in Russia are much harder than in America. For teachers, the most important part of students' homework is for responses to be grammatically correct in punctuation and in spelling. But in Russia, the written letters must be impeccable and be pretty. Let me explain. Imagine you have to write a perfect R in cursive, but you wrote it a little bit sloppy because the lines were not clearly defined. The teacher in Russia would give you a B just for that, even if the teacher understood what you wrote. The teacher will expect you to learn to write the letters correctly before you learn the grammar. Russian alphabet is a little different than the American alphabet as well. Russian alphabet has 33 letters in it, but the American alphabet has only 26. It is pretty easy to pronounce each letter, but it gets a bit complicated when you're saying a sound that combines 2 letters in it. For example, when you put the Russian's letter T and E together, you get T. Most people would expect that combining these 2 sounds would make the sound T in Russian, because this is the phonological sound these 2 letters make. In today's global society, it is beneficial to be well-versed in different languages. Follow my suggestions and you learning the language will get easier. If you have any questions about my experience living in Russia, wearing a school uniform, like I'm wearing now, or learning a new language, just find me around Markham Woods Middle School. Thank you.
Our next presenter is going to talk to us about environmental awareness. Juliana.
Many people think that our ecological resources are so abundant and never end. However, they couldn't be more wrong. We are deforesting the planet day by day and are polluting things that are undoable. Then, humans still have the audacity to go hunting, and we don't stop there. If you have been wondering how many trees are cut down, here's a good estimate. 3.5 to 6.7 billion a year. Trees make oxygen and remove CO2 from the air, which is vital for our survival. Also, when many trees are cut down, bird eggs die. Then they won't be able to eat the fish, and the fish will overpopulate, eventually killing each other off. This doesn't just affect the trees, but our whole ecosystem. This is a major crisis, but you can help reduce it. In school, to prevent from using a lot of paper, use the front, back, and avoid skipping lines. Every little bit helps. After all, it takes half of a full-grown tree to make only 10 reams of paper. Pollution. Maybe you drove here, threw out your plastic bottle, and didn't even think about that plastic Publix bag you just let go. Everybody does these things, but only some are aware of the consequences. Every time you drive your car, it emits the following: carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter, all of which are destroying the ozone, which was supposed to protect us from the sun's ultraviolet rays. These pollutants also contribute to cancer, asthma, and heart disease. The water is also being polluted. Every day, 700,000 tons of trash are produced, most of which finds its way to the ocean and killing marine wildlife. In fact, Princeton University did a study and found that 5 million turtles are killed from plastic bags alone. Scientists state that we have to change within the next 5 years to save our Earth. You contribute by riding your bike, carpooling, recycling, or using reusable items. These things add up and can make you a hero. Trophy hunting, the most cruel sport. There are 20,000 animals that are now extinct. 20,000 animals that we will never see again. Animals that once loved, lived, and felt pain when they died. Often animals don't even die right away and end up living in agony for days, wishing for death. People with private property are now buying animals only to put them on their lands for hunting purposes. Help these animals out by protesting, joining a wildlife conservation, or signing petitions. Do whatever it takes, because in my lifetime this has to end. It has to stop. The earth, our home, where there used to be magnificent trees, where there used to be fresh air, and where animals used to live in peace. Our world has changed, and not in a good way. Join me. I can't do it alone, but together we can make a change, and a change for the better.
So in addition to our agriculture classes and 4-H youth development, we also sponsor the Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program. This is an opportunity for families to get nutrition education. Our next speaker is going to talk to us about superheroes. Isabella Carter is from Altamont Christian School.
How many of you guys like superheroes? I like superheroes. I like Wonder Woman, Captain America, my mom. And now, I know what you're saying. Your mom's not a superhero. But let's face it, sometimes changing dirty diapers is just as hard as fighting bad guys. But really, what makes someone a superhero? Is it because they have a cool cape, laser eyes, can fly? Not exactly. A superhero is someone who has a kind heart, helps others, and brings joy to the people around them. I want you to think of someone who can fall under this category. Doctors, firefighters, teachers, your mom. If we're going by this definition, really, anybody could be a superhero. You could be a superhero. But being a superhero isn't always easy. You have to remember to put other people first. And sometimes things you have to do won't always be the things you want to do. For example, I'm sure Batman didn't want to go out and save Gotham City every night. Maybe one day he was really tired, and all he wanted to do was stay in bed with a big bag of chips and binge watch Netflix. But no. He got up out of his bed, put on his cape, and went and saved the world. He did this because it was the right thing to do. This is the type of sacrifice our everyday superheroes have to make. In conclusion, you can find superheroes everywhere, not just in your TV. You just have to know where to look. Now that I've shared this with you, I want to know, do you have a new favorite superhero?
Our next presenter is Isaiah Stringer, The Power of Music from Indian Trails Middle School.
Music is not just a melody, but a soul telling you its story. Because of the sweet notes, luscious melody, and lively beat, all remind you that you are alive. Music makes us human. Harriet Tubman actually used music to memorize her routes on the Underground Railroad. In the same manner, kids do better on tests when listening to music. This also applies with babies, more brain development and growth. This is because music is one of the few activities that utilizes the entire brain. Studies have shown that musicians have a higher volume of cortex within their brain. Not only does this mean more neurons, but more processing power, more smarts. Music can give us the courage to do something good or bad, positive or negative, destructive or beneficial. It can also get us through the tough times when we are weak and lowly, like civil rights, women's suffrage, equality for all. Music can send us to worlds and dimensions of wonders enjoys. And all you have to do is listen and imagine beyond the point. To conclude, music will never just be a simplistic melody and will always be more than a soul telling you its story. Because of the sweet notes, luscious melody, and lively beat all contribute to what music is in the bigger picture. Music is the crescendo in our lives.
Let's give all of our participants a huge round of applause. Stellar group here. We would like to again thank our judges, you all as parents, the families, the teachers, the administrators. There are so many people who put so much into this program to make it happen. So thank you all very, very much. And without further ado, I would like to announce our winners. We had 15 absolutely amazing students tonight. Stellar. We'll be announcing our honorable mention, third, second, and then first place tonight. Our honorable mention this evening goes to Miss Natalie McCoy. Our third place winner this evening is Miss Allison Helms. Our second place winner is Mr. Isaiah Stringer. And our first place winner, in addition to the Tropicana plaque that she will be receiving, will also be getting a full scholarship to 4-H summer camp, which will happen in July, and that is Miss Arena Arvat. We thank you all so very much. Congratulations to everyone who participated. You all did a stellar job. We wish you all safe travels and have a wonderful night. Thank you.